And while Kelly limbers off for a bit of spray hair, our celebrity is limbering up for his Olympian task. Before we go to it, let's find out this week's reviews. As you get ready for the large portion of blockbuster movies penetrating your lounges next week, we take a look at movie tie-ins. First up, the perennial Christmas fave, Get Shaken Not Stirred with James Bond.
It's not really based on any of the movies, and in truth, it's not really based on very much James Bond stuff at all. It's a sprawling, very colourful, parallax-scrolling platform shooter-up.
I did enjoy James Bond to a certain extent. The trouble is, I've seen it all before.
There are 4 levels, and once you've found the route for each, they really won't hold much challenge for you, and it shouldn't last more than a week.
Next up on the Super NES, gleaming helmets and 15 seconds to comply, it's Robocop 3.
The gameplay is just like Hollywood. You've seen it all before 1,000 times.
It's not very original, and it won't last you too long because it's too frustrating.
It's ridiculously difficult. Ocean didn't want you to see the end of the game too soon, and so they made it really, really hard. There's an awful lot of robo, but there's not much cop.
Finally, Julian Clary and Claire Rayner fondle their weapons and blow each other away in Universal Soldier.
It's just an average shoot 'em up where you've got to find your route through each level whilst taking on the hordes of bad guys that come at you.
Basically, it's Turrican 2. It has a different main sprite, but the game's just the same. If you have the first Turrican on Game Boy, then you should leave well alone. If you don't, it's well worth a look at.
Now it's time for this week's feature. With Christmas rapidly approaching, there's an abundance of video game sweetmeats to pack out the most spacious of stockings. But alas and alack, there are also a few frozen dog doos lurking in the snow. Here's GamesMaster's top 5 turkeys. Roaring in at number 5 on the Amiga, Road Fighter, a merry little jaunt through the world of dire driving games. At 4, the unbridled boredom of Altered Beast on the Mega Drive. Walk along kick, walk along kick, walk along kick. What an experience. At number 3, Space Ace on the Amiga. Thrill to the graphics, celebrate the sound, and curse the total lack of Mr. Gameplay. In the runner-up spot, Terminator 2. It's so bad they couldn't even spell judgment correctly. The worst film tie-in ever, and it requires a swift hasta la vista to this one. But the worst game ever to drag itself out of the primeval sludge is the footballing ineptness of Jaleco Goal. Totally unplayable, makes Mr. Taylor look a dead, and if you only burn one game this Christmas, make it this one. Finally tonight, a month ago we launched a huge competition to let you design your own game using the programming package Amos on the Amiga. Europress Software made the once-in-a-lifetime offer to actually release the game if it's good enough. Here are some of the thousands of entries that have flooded in. Remember, if you can't quite complete the game, send in some design notes and artwork. If you think you're up to the standard, send your entries to GamesMaster Design a Game Competition, PO Box 91, London E14 9GT. Closing date is 1st of January 1993. Well, now you know what games to body swerve.